The summer air hangs thick and heavy over Hartsville, Georgia, in the year 1994. The small town hums with its usual rhythm, children playing in the streets, neighbors chatting on porches, the distant sound of gospel music drifting from the local church. But inside Hartsville General Hospital, an unnatural silence falls over the maternity ward. Cheryl Jackson, exhausted but radiant, cradles her newborn daughter for the first time. The baby, named Naomi, is unlike any child the doctors have ever seen. Her skin glows with a soft, golden hue, and her delicate features seem almost too perfect, as if carved by divine hands. The nurses coo over her, unable to resist peering into the infant's face. Then, one by one, they collapse. The first is Dr. Langford, a seasoned obstetrician who has delivered hundreds of babies. His knees buckle mid-sentence, his clipboard clattering to the floor. The young nurse beside him gasps, reaching out, only to crumple seconds later. A visiting relative, peeking through the doorway, takes one look at the child and slumps against the wall. Within minutes, the room is a graveyard of still bodies. Only Cheryl and her husband, Marcus, remain untouched. Chaos erupts. Hospital staff rush in, only to meet the same fate. The surviving witnesses, those who glimpsed Naomi from a distance or saw her reflection in a mirror, speak in hushed, terrified tones. The Jackson baby is cursed. Cheryl and Marcus flee the hospital that night, carrying Naomi wrapped tightly in blankets, her face carefully shielded. They return to their small, weathered house on the outskirts of town, where the walls are thin but the secrets must be thicker. The news spreads anyway. By morning, Hartsville knows something unnatural has happened at the hospital, though the details remain murky. The Jacksons make a decision. Naomi will never be seen. The years pass in quiet isolation. The house becomes Naomi's entire world. Marcus builds tall fences around the property, and Cheryl teaches their daughter at home, using old textbooks and borrowed novels. Naomi grows into a bright, curious child, her mind sharp despite the confines of her existence. She reads voraciously, history, science, poetry, and fills notebooks with her own stories, creating imaginary friends to replace the ones she can never have. But as she grows older, the weight of her curse presses harder. She watches from her bedroom window as other children laugh and play in the streets. She sees them walk to school in neat lines, backpacks bouncing, and feels a hollow ache in her chest. Sometimes she presses her hands against the glass, wondering what sunlight feels like on bare skin. Her parents try to shield her from the truth, but Naomi is not a fool. She knows why she must stay hidden. She sees the way her mother's hands tremble when she adjusts the thick curtains, the way her father's voice tightens when he speaks of the outside world. She understands that her face is a death sentence. Yet, despite everything, she dreams. She dreams of walking down a street without fear, of sitting in a classroom, raising her hand to answer a question, of looking into another person's eyes and seeing recognition instead of terror. On her 18th birthday, Naomi stands before the mirror in her room, carefully unwrapping the scarf that covers her face. For a moment, she allows herself to look. The girl staring back is beautiful, too beautiful. It is a beauty that kills. She covers herself again, but the thought lingers. What if one day someone could see her and live? The air in the Jackson household feels heavier than usual on the morning of Naomi's first day at Hartsville Community College. The weight of 18 years spent in isolation presses down on her shoulders as she stands before the hallway mirror, adjusting the thick, midnight blue veil that now serves as her shield. The fabric covers every inch of her face except for her eyes, dark, intelligent, and filled with quiet apprehension. Her mother's hands flutter nervously as she tucks in a stray fold of the veil, her fingers lingering for a moment too long, as if afraid to let go. Marcus waits by the front door, his broad frame tense with unspoken worry. He holds out a pair of gloves, another precaution, though they all know it's the face that carries the curse. Naomi slips them on without protest. The walk to campus is short but suffocating. The Georgia sun beats down mercilessly, and the veil clings to her skin, already damp with sweat. She keeps her gaze fixed on the sidewalk, avoiding the curious glances of passers-by. The college looms ahead, a squat brick building with too many windows. Students mill about the courtyard, laughing, shouting, existing so effortlessly in the world that has always been forbidden to her. Naomi's chest tightens. She has spent years imagining this moment, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of it, the noise, the movement, the sheer number of people. Her first class is English literature. The professor, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, pauses mid-lecture when she enters. The room falls silent for a beat too long. Then the whispers start. She ignores them, choosing a seat in the back corner where the shadows are deepest. The professor recovers quickly, but the tension lingers. Every time she raises her hand to answer a question, and she always knows the answer, the other students shift uncomfortably in their seats. By the end of the first week, the rumors have taken on a life of their own. Some say she's a burn victim. Others insist she's hiding some grotesque deformity. A few even joke that she's an undercover celebrity. But the most persistent theory belongs to Lakeisha Monroe. Lakeisha is the kind of girl who commands attention without trying. Her braids are always perfect. Her clothes always fresh off the pages of a magazine the rest of Hartsville won't see for months. She moves through the world with the easy confidence of someone who has never been told no. And she has decided that Naomi is her newest project. It starts with pointed comments in the hallway. "Must be hot under there," Lakeisha says loudly to her friends as Naomi passes. Or maybe she just likes being mysterious. Her laughter is sharp, designed to cut. The second week, it escalates to accidental bumps in the cafeteria. Trey's slipping too close to Naomi's veil. Naomi endures it all in silence. She focuses on her studies, burying herself in textbooks and essays. The professors notice. Dr. Carter, her biology instructor, pulls her aside after class one day to praise her near-perfect test scores. "You have a remarkable mind," he says, and for a moment, the words almost make up for the loneliness. But the isolation follows her home. Her parents ask about her day, but she has nothing to share except the weight of the stairs, the sting of the whispers. She retreats to her room, where the walls feel both like a prison and the only safe place left. Some nights, when the house is quiet, she stands at her window and watches the distant glow of the college dorms. She imagines the lives unfolding inside, study groups, late-night conversations, friendships forged over shared struggles, a world that exists just beyond her reach. The veil itches. Her gloved hands clench into fists. She wants more. The library's fluorescent lights hum softly overhead, casting long shadows across the study tables. Naomi sits in her usual corner, surrounded by towering stacks of books, her gloved fingers turning the pages of a worn biology textbook. The veil clings to her skin, damp with the effort of concentrating through another sleepless night. Her eyelids grow heavy, the words blurring together. Just a few minutes of rest, she tells herself. Just a few. Across the room, Trey watches. Lakeisha's words still echo in his ears. "She's hiding something ugly, and I want to know what it is." At first, he had laughed it off. But Lakeisha doesn't let things go. Not ever. And now here he is, pretending to study while waiting for the right moment. It had been easy enough to get close. A borrowed pencil here, a question about an assignment there. Naomi, so starved for even the illusion of kindness, had responded cautiously at first, then with something like relief. No one else bothers to speak to her. No one else looks past the veil. Trey shifts in his seat. His palms sweat. This is stupid, he thinks. But Lakeisha had smiled at him in that way she does, the one that makes promises. Naomi's head dips forward, her breathing evening out. The book slips slightly from her grasp. Now, he moves quietly, stepping around the tables with exaggerated care. The library is nearly empty at this hour, just a few students dozing at their desks, the librarian half asleep behind the counter. No one notices as he reaches Naomi's table. His fingers hover over the edge of her veil. For a second, he hesitates. What if the rumors are true? Then he remembers Lakeisha's laugh, the way she rolls her eyes when he hesitates. He steels himself. One quick pull. The fabric falls away. Naomi's face is the last thing Trey sees. Her beauty is unbearable, not in the way of models or actresses, but something deeper, something that claws at his chest and steals the breath from his lungs. His heart stutters. His vision whites out at the edges. He doesn't even have time to scream. Naomi jerks awake at the sound of his body hitting the floor. Her hands fly to her face, bare, exposed, and her stomach drops. Trey lies motionless beside her chair, his eyes wide and unseeing. A girl at the next table gasps. The sound ripples through the room like a shockwave. Someone shouts. Chairs scrape against linoleum as students scramble back. Naomi fumbles for her veil, her fingers trembling so badly she can barely grip it. By the time she manages to cover herself again, the damage is done. The librarian is already calling for help, her voice shrill with panic. The police arrive quickly. Their questions come in rapid succession. What happened? Did you two argue? Did you touch him? Naomi answers mechanically, her voice hollow. No, she didn't argue with him. No, she didn't touch him. She was asleep. The coroner finds no marks, no signs of struggle. Trey's body shows no trace of poison, no hidden wounds. Just a heart that stopped without warning. They let her go. They have no choice. But as Naomi steps out of the police station, the weight of the stairs nearly crushes her. The students gathered outside don't scatter when she approaches. They don't whisper behind their hands anymore. They just watch. And for the first time, she sees real fear in their eyes. The campus feels different after Trey's death. The whispers no longer follow Naomi. Students and professors alike give her a wide berth, their gazes skittering away the moment she turns her head. The library, once her sanctuary, now feels tainted. She sits alone at the back of every lecture hall, her gloved hands clenched tightly around her pen, her veil a suffocating barrier between her and the world. For the first time in her life, she considers giving up. The weight of her curse presses down harder than ever, and the thought of enduring another semester of isolation makes her chest ache. She packs her bag slowly one evening, her fingers tracing the spines of her textbooks with something like regret. Then, on a Tuesday morning in late October, Jamal Washington walks into her biology class. He's new, a transfer student from Atlanta, according to the professor's brief introduction. Tall and broad-shouldered, with dark eyes that scan the room with quiet curiosity. When the only empty seat left happens to be next to Naomi, no one misses the way the surrounding students tense. Jamal doesn't seem to notice. He slides into the chair beside her with an easy confidence, offering a small nod in greeting before turning his attention to the lecture. No stares, no nervous shifting, no poorly concealed revulsion. Naomi waits for the inevitable moment when he'll realize who she is and recoil. It never comes. Days pass. Jamal continues to sit beside her, his presence steady and unassuming. He doesn't pry, doesn't ask about the veil, doesn't treat her like a spectacle. When she drops her pen, he picks it up without hesitation. When the professor assigns group work, he turns to her first. Slowly, cautiously, Naomi begins to relax in his company. Their conversation starts small, comments about the weather, complaints about assignments, the occasional dry observation about their classmates. But as weeks turn into months, the words flow more easily. Jamal speaks to her like she's a person, not a cautionary tale. He tells her about Atlanta, about his little sister who wants to be a doctor, about his love for jazz music that he inherited from his grandfather. Naomi finds herself sharing things in return, her love of literature, her fascination with astronomy, the way she used to imagine the stars as distant friends when she was a child. The words feel strange on her tongue at first, unused to being spoken aloud. But Jamal listens like every syllable matters. One evening, as they sit on a secluded bench near the edge of campus, the setting sun painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Jamal turns to her. The look in his eyes is unfamiliar, but not unwelcome. "I don't care what's under there," he says, his voice softer than she's ever heard it. His gaze doesn't waver from hers, even as her breath catches behind the veil. "I just care about you." The words settle over Naomi like sunlight after a long winter. For the first time in 18 years, she allows herself to imagine a future where she isn't defined by her curse, where she might be loved, not in spite of the veil, but because of the person beneath it. That night, for the first time in months, she doesn't dream of death. She dreams of possibility. The spring air hangs thick with anticipation as Hartsville Community College prepares for its annual graduation gala. Twinkling lights drape across the campus courtyard, and the chatter of excited students fills the space between bursts of music. Naomi stands near the edge of the festivities, her gloved fingers nervously adjusting the hem of her dark blue dress. The veil feels heavier tonight, the fabric clinging to her skin with every shallow breath. Across the room, Lakeisha watches. She has been watching for weeks, ever since Jamal started sitting with Naomi in the cafeteria, ever since he walked her to class, with a hand hovering protectively near the small of her back. The sight burns in Lakeisha's chest like acid. No one steals her spotlight. No one. The plan forms quickly. The gala provides the perfect cover: crowds, chaos, and just enough alcohol flowing to make accidents seem plausible. Lakeisha gathers her friends with sharp whispers and sharper smiles. Tonight, everyone will see the monster behind the veil. Naomi feels the tension before she sees it. The hairs on the back of her neck rise as Lakeisha's laughter cuts through the music. Too loud, too close. Jamal tenses beside her, his posture shifting subtly into something protective. It happens in a blur. Lakeisha stumbles forward, her drink sloshing over the rim of her cup. Her hands shoot out, not to catch herself, but toward Naomi's face. The world narrows to the glint of manicured nails, grasping for the veil's edge. Jamal moves faster. He steps between them, his broad frame blocking Lakeisha's reach. The crowd around them gasps as Lakeisha recoils, her pretty features twisting into something ugly. For a heartbeat, everything hangs suspended. The music, the laughter, the very air itself. Then chaos erupts. Someone jostles Naomi from behind. Another hand, accidental or not, tugs at her sleeve. The veil slips. Fabric whispers against skin as it falls. The courtyard goes deathly silent. Naomi stands frozen, her face bare for the first time in public since childhood. The night air feels foreign against her cheeks. Her pulse roars in her ears as she waits for the inevitable. The gasps, the screams, the sound of bodies hitting the ground. Nothing happens. Her gaze flies to Jamal. He stands perfectly still, his dark eyes wide but clear. Alive. His lips part, not in a scream, but in quiet wonder. Then, slowly, impossibly, he smiles. The curse is broken. Around them, the crowd remains standing. Whispers ripple through the students, but no one collapses. No one dies. Lakeisha's mouth works soundlessly, her earlier bravado crumbling as she stares at Naomi's face, not monstrous, but radiant. Beautiful in a way that steals breath for an entirely different reason. Naomi doesn't notice. Her entire world has narrowed to Jamal's face, to the warmth in his eyes as he reaches for her hand. His fingers intertwine with hers, solid and real and utterly unafraid. The music starts up again, hesitant at first, then swelling into something joyous. The moment shatters, but the truth remains. Where there was once a curse, now there is only light. Morning light spills across Hartsville's quiet streets as Naomi walks to the bus stop, her face bare to the world for the first time. The summer air carries the scent of magnolias and freshly cut grass, ordinary things that feel extraordinary today. Her skin tingles where the sunlight touches it, no longer hidden behind layers of fabric. People pass by, neighbors, shopkeepers, students she's known for years, but who've never truly seen her. Their gazes linger now, not with fear, but with hesitant curiosity. Some even smile. The college campus looks different in the golden haze of July. Students mill about the quad, their laughter floating through the open windows of administrative buildings. Naomi's acceptance letter to Spelman College rests in her bag, its crisp edges pressing against her fingers through the envelope each time she moves. Atlanta awaits, a fresh start where no one will remember the girl who hid behind a veil. Jamal meets her at their usual bench near the library, his duffel bag already packed for the move. His face lights up when he sees her, that same wonder in his eyes from the night at the gala. They don't speak about the miracle that broke the curse. They don't need to. His hand finds hers naturally, their fingers slotting together like they were made to fit. Across town, Lakeisha's house stands empty. The for sale sign tilts slightly in the breeze, its bright red letters clashing with the peeling paint of the porch. Rumor has it she left for Baton Rouge, though no one seems to know for certain. The social hierarchy she once ruled has already shifted, her name fading from conversations like chalk from a sidewalk after rain. Naomi's parents help pack her things into Jamal's old pickup truck. Cheryl's hands tremble as she folds Naomi's graduation gown, not from fear now, but from something softer, more fragile. Marcus keeps his composure until the last moment, when he pulls his daughter into a hug, so tight it steals her breath. The scent of his aftershave lingers on her clothes as the truck pulls away, Hartsville shrinking in the rearview mirror. The highway stretches ahead, endless with possibility. Naomi leans her head against the window, watching the world blur past. Green fields giving way to suburban sprawl, then to the first glittering high-rises of Atlanta. The wind rushing through the open windows carries the mingled scents of gasoline and rain-washed pavement, of something new. For 18 years, she believed her face was a death sentence. Now, as Jamal's thumb traces absent circles on her wrist and the city skyline rises before them, she understands the truth. The curse was never her face, it was the loneliness. The real magic wasn't in being seen, but in being truly known. The truck merges onto the downtown connector, sunlight glinting off glass towers. Somewhere ahead, their future waits, unwritten, unchained, beautifully ordinary. Naomi closes her eyes and smiles.